Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome back to another video. What's up? It's me, your boy, Scott the Architect. So today, we're re-recording this video for like the fourth time because I keep changing everything. So, we're gonna talk about my game, The Adventures of Businessman, Business as Usual. So I've put a lot of work into the game. Originally, I started making the game because of I was writing the soundtrack. My first album I released had a song on it called The Adventures of Businessman 2. This time it's Personnel. And everything was hunky-dory. And then later, I kind of went on to write in different genres and whatnot, and eventually I wanted to go back to 8-bit, and I wanted it to be like my return to the norm, you know, business as usual. And then Lightbulb, I was like, I can make the soundtrack to the original Businessman, and so I started to, and then I discovered a thing called the Analog Pocket, and it had support for this thing called GB Studio, and you could make your own games with it, kind of like in the same, you know, along the same lines of like RPG Maker, where it's kind of drop-down boxes, and it's just, you know, logic-based. You don't really need to know how to code and stuff, but it helps. So yeah, then I just started to learn how to do it. And so before we jump into the code and all that stuff, let's have a look at the gameplay. All right. So here we are with the gameplay. Time to do business. Goodbye, Liam. Alright. Business Inc., where business happens. Good old Business Inc. So you start the game out, you know, it appears you're late for work, but that's never really established. So, the little computer with the exclamation point over it, that's your desk. I put that there so you kind of knew where to go. So, clearly, the little flashing exclamation point must be important. I should go check that out. Alright, so here's a quick tutorial on how to do this. So, listen. Listen helps talk. So, you don't know what to talk about if you don't listen, right? So, you can use listen multiple times until it succeeds. So, which I might add a stipulation to that. It's a crit. Alright, now, since we didn't use any heals, we can see, you know, odd or even. What's it gonna be? We'll go odd. It was even, so normal sale. Normal experience and reputation and money. So, that's fine. So yeah, that's basically how that works. Alright, so now we are higher level and whatnot, so we're going to go to this computer. Manage sales team? Yes. So we're gonna go up to the first number 1 up here. Hire sales team member. Okay. So, not the greatest stats. 213, 213. We'll go with this guy. That's fine. So, we're level 3, so we can have all 3 of them, so... Well, it's just for display purposes, for, you know, just to show how it functions, so that'll be... They don't need the best stats. But when you play, I highly recommend get the ones with the best stats. Okay, and then... I should fix that. Shouldn't have experience points yet. So yeah. So, now that we have our sales team members, we can go into a sale. So, currently, Pitch and Bluff kind of do the same thing, except for they're, you know, it correlates to your stats. You have 3 stats, so each of these use those stats. So, this guy, I think, has better charisma stats, so if you pitch the sale, it should be a better roll for you. Okay. So, this all kind of works based on kind of a loose interpretation of the classic turn-based Final Fantasy games and whatnot. So, you've got your team members and whatnot, they're doing their thing, and then, yeah, if it hits, it gives you a little check mark. If you miss, it gives you the X and whatnot, so... We missed. We missed. You know what? We'll bluff. Got him. Alright. Fortunately, he's not hitting, so... And we programmed the health bars to change whenever you're critical into red. And he's not hitting me at all. So we made a sale. 10 experience. That is the lowest it can go. But now, 43. So, that's good. And we've made 2 sales, because when we did the business call earlier, there's a little thing in the code that our sales team makes sales too, but I need to make that only active when you actually are managing the sales team. Also, we've got the business card battles. So yeah, let's try that out. Are you a betting man? You know what? Yeah, just for this, I'll put 50 on it. So we got 9. That's a good one. Oh, over. Got that one. That's a point for us. 3. Yeah. One is pretty difficult to be better than the other one with riveting commentary. We got him. So, this is our personal office. It has a functioning coffee machine, so we can drink our coffee. Then we also have our desk. So we have everything here. So business call, stock market, and online marketing. So we can go into the online marketing, talk to Maya. Then we can change our stuff here. So these different things give bonuses to, you know, how much experience you get, how much reputation you get, and then how much money you get from like your business calls and stuff. So we'll go I think I think probably the most important one is probably social media reputation, because that increases your career, and your career is very important in this game. So, yeah, and then we got the stock market. So, you know, we've got real estate down at 14. That's pretty low. 14. Okay, well, let's get some pharma. So, I think we can get a bit of that. So, and let's get some real estate. I think we can buy. Okay, well, we can just spam this until we so there should be 140 per. One. Okay, there we go. So we won't dump all of our money in, but yeah. So then you wait a little bit, see what the stocks do. Real estate went up. We should sell. Okay, we made some money back. Let's see. Oh, it went down. Let's, you know what? Let's dump a little more into it. 13. Give me 10. Oh. Alright, well. Probably should have put it into like crypto or energy. But yeah. This is eventually it'll go up. Alright, so now it's up. It's at 40. Oh, so we'll sell. We had 200 shares. I have $8,200. Alright. So yeah. So that's that. That's basically the game. And then you can talk to these guys. So yeah. Alright, so this is the game, pretty much in its entirety. There we go. That's everything in the game. So basically, you start here, it checks if it has, you know, if it's in a Game Boy Color or better. If Game Boy Color mode is available, then it takes you here. If not, it takes you to this little screen that says, you know, play it on a Game Boy. What are you doing? Come on. So, if it is Game Boy Color mode, it goes here. Then it goes here. And then, you know, start new game or continue. And then if you start a new game, when you start a new game, it takes you to the intro house, which is just, there's some variables and stuff. I probably could cut it down and just make it, you know, onto this one and cut down assets and stuff, but I don't know. You learn as you go. So, but yeah, this is your house. It's very let's see if there we go. So yeah, just some little details. You know, you got your bathtub, your bed, nightstands. You know, you got a table over here with, you know, a computer that currently it's a sprite, it's an actor, so it actually is not part of the art background. So you got your sink and refrigerator, some standard stuff. And then I just recently added some stuff for you know, once you start making that business money, to buy cars. So here you've got like what is basically a BMW, then you've got a Ferrari F40, and then I believe it was the 1993 McLaren, it's a Formula 1 car. So here's the outside of your house, very nice, very cool. Here's the street where you got, you know, different people's houses and stuff. You got the shop, you got the pub, Some cool stuff there. Don't worry about that. That's a dream sequence. It's mostly secret. Hush hush. So fun fact. This right here, this art, for when you go to sleep, that's obviously my my little logo, but this over here should say architect. I'm not entirely sure because it's one of those Google Translate English to Japanese. So if it doesn't say that, hopefully it doesn't say anything bad. If you speak Japanese, leave a comment in the comments. Well, here are the cars. When you buy them and whatnot. I just added this like yesterday, so give me a break. But yeah, I'll have to come up with a better palette for the McLaren to make it look a little more like the McLaren, but if you're in the know, you can probably tell. So here we have a trigger, and so whenever you load into the scene and you happen to go into one of these, you will on enter have all this happen, and then on leave sometimes you can put stuff in it to do that, but this, we really only need this to be on enter. So and when you hit the main menu, you load into right here, so the top part of your body loads into right there. I'm gonna move this out of the way, out, so I'm not blocking it. So so it attaches script to a button. So that's one of the options you can do. So we have attach script to A button, so it plays a sound whenever you press A, plays a sound, and then it displays you currently have however many drive. And so this variable right here is this number that will represent either 3, and then if it equals 2, it'll hide this one, and then it'll only show those, and then it'll say you have 2 drive, and then 1, obviously, and then you'll know whenever you hit 0, because then you'll automatically go to sleep and sleep through the night, and then be refreshed for tomorrow. And so then if you hit down on the D-pad, it automatically takes you down to the next one, and then up brings you all the way up to the bottom, which, it's that infinite scrolling thing, so yeah. And then if you hit the select, it takes you over to the player info, kind of like start menu, select menu. So, and then B and start bring you down to cancel. So you can just, and then once you're down here, if you hit A, B, or start, it'll just back you out of the menu. So that's the basic idea. That's like at least how triggers work. We can go into something a little more complicated, I guess. So so this should be pretty in-depth. So there's a lot of variables, especially with all this stuff I've recently had for the sales team management stuff. I didn't really name them, so it's gonna just be a bunch of numbers, so I'm sorry for that. So here we have attach script to A button. So on press, if variable 270 equals 0, and if that is true, if money is greater to or equal to 1,000, greater than or equal to 1,000, play sound effect. Hire sales team member, and then it gives you a menu where you can be like yes or no. And then if yes, play sound effect. If it does another money check, which that's a bit redundant, I can probably change that. And then It takes the money away. Makes variable 287 equal 1. It stores your current position. So these positions right here. And then it changes the scene to this one over here. And then over here, it these purple areas, these are for sprites. So it loads sprites here. And so it also loads you into this area right here. And so you'll kind of fall into this trigger right here. And so whenever you go to hire a new sales team member, it'll randomly generate stats for these people and kind of randomly generate who is for, you know, for hire. And so it will, you know, on enter, it'll display their stats, which if you've got charisma, intelligence, and like, it's like resistance or restore. I haven't really, I guess it's like resistance, but that one's kind of an unused stat at the moment. I do plan on making the stats a little more, making them actually work the way you would think they do. Because currently they don't, but it's all a process, man. I'm just getting things to work, and then I'll add some more stuff and I'll get those things to work. But so on A, press play sound, hire this member, and then ask you yes or no. If yes, then play sound, hire, and then it changes all these variables. So it does a check. So remember when we went here, variable 287 equals 1. So on this, if variable 287 is greater than 0, and then it tells everything about this person, to store these randomly generated stats into these more permanent stats. And so it makes it transfers over those randomly generated stats to a more permanent, localized, you know, for this party member here. And so yeah, and then you go into the sales team and you do your stuff. So yeah, that's basically that. So yeah, that's it. That's the game. That's a basic idea of how things work and a very general sense of GB Studio. I keep adding more and more things to the game, so if you're from the future and you're seeing this video and you're like, man, look at how little was in the game, but if you're from today, then yeah, I've added a lot, and it's eventually I will figure out a better way to implement this game, and like I can kind of package it in like Android kind of apps and stuff. Haven't really gotten there with iOS, so for all my Apple friends, looks like you have to get an Android. But yeah, so this is a very serious matter. Thank you to everyone who watched the video, and I'd like to give a shout out to my mom. What's up? You killing it? You're doing it. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to my dentist. What's the best time to go see a dentist? When you got insurance. So, I love you. Goodbye.